Hey there. All right. So I just got out of bed for this idea. Never done it this way before. Maybe you have some inclination as to what I'm talking about if I put it in the title of this video. But basically, this pick a reflection is going to be done through the Horary chart for the timestamp that we use when we ask the question. So I'm going to preface this in the intro just by telling you what the Horary chart is. So I'm just Googling a quick definition. Horary chart. What is? AI Overview says, a horary chart is an astrological chart that is created to answer a question by analyzing the positions of the planets at the exact moment a question is asked. So I have used this in my personal life for a while, the horary chart. Love the horary chart. And there's so many layers to it, right? So it's just a little bit of a challenge to do it as a general reading on your specific question. So I'll be speaking about the answer in a very general way, but hopefully also in a way that will click in and make sense for your question. Okay? It's an experiment. Let me know how it works. You know? This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. See, I jumped out of bed for this, and I usually will just, lay in bed when I'm not even tired and watch movies until I fall asleep. I'm a projector, so they say one thing about projectors, a projector is my classification when we look through the eyes of human design. And one of the things that's said for projectors is always go to bed before you're tired. So I haven't felt bad about doing that. But anyway, couldn't sleep. Knew it would be a while. Decided, why don't I get back up and try this out right now? So I'm going to pull up astro.com. I usually have it open on a tab at all times on my phone, but I just closed all my tabs earlier because my phone was running slow. Okay. Just pulling up the chart first. Free horoscopes, I think it's under. Alright, where is it? That's how to find it. All horoscopes at a glance. Extended chart selection. Do you guys use astro.com? If you do astrology, it's a great site. Highly recommend. Alright. It's going to be 3 piles, so you can start using your intuition to decide on one if you'd like. I gotta get this hair off of me. Look at this hair. It is starting to feel like heavy and it's too long for a messy bun. And I don't know, I don't want to cut it, but it's just at that point where I'm going to be sitting on it when I sit soon. Probably in some other lifetime I hired someone to do my hair for me every day. And now I'm spoiled and I just feel like it's weird because when I was younger I thought I would want to be a hairdresser. Over that. I can't wear it in a ponytail anymore because if I do anything at all, I'll show you what I mean. If I do anything at all, right, like I'm doing something bent over, It flops into my face like this. So, well, I like this look. Well, just casualing around, it's not practical. All right, here we are. I feel like this is a very childlike hairdo, but I like it. Okay, here we go. Putting in descending node to chiron, to all objects, quintiles, semi-squares, additional objects. We're going to put in the part of fortune, the vertex, Lilith, Chiron, Sirius, Pallas, Juno, Vesta, Pholus, Eris. Okay. And then we're going to put my name in there. There's an asteroid named Julie Melissa that I use to represent me in the charts, so I'm putting that in. Putting in Hecate, putting in Angel, I'm putting in Osiris, which means I should definitely put in Isis. I'm putting in Iris. I'm putting in Karma. I'm putting in Juno. I'm putting in, what else do I want to put in here? 5781, I don't know what that is, but I'm putting it in. Might be Hermes, might be Zeus, can't remember. Anything else? Any other asteroids that should be in the charts for these questions, Spirit? Yeah, when I asked that, it was like 117 something, but I think it's the asteroid for Spirit. Let me look that up. Asteroid number Spirit. Spirit. Misspelled it. Okay, it's 37452. 37452. 37452. 37452. And now that leaves, I don't know what that 711 something was. So 711 something what? Asteroid 711 Mula? There was another number after it. I'm putting 8 after it. Usually hear a whole number, but Kuklov. Kuklov. I don't know. I wouldn't know the meaning of Kuklov anyway. So I'm not putting it in. What else? Asteroid list. We'll get a forum with an asteroid list and just see if any stand out to me. You can fast forward to your pick now if you don't want to sit with me through this, but what asteroid? Come on, where's my asteroid astrology? It's another typo, but it got me there. All right. Oh, Apollo, 1862. Let's put him in. Feel called, 1862. 1862. And who else? Oh, Aphrodite, 1388. 1388. Who else? 19521. Chaos. 19521. 19521. There's a ladybug in here. I can hear it hitting the ceiling as it's flying. Oh, Merlin, 2598. Yeah, because as I was getting ready to do this, 2598, I heard something about magicians. Like everyone here's a magician or something. I don't know. Any more here that are going to be very, very helpful? Oh, Zeus is 5731. What did I put? I put 5781. I'm going to change it to 31. I'm going to look up what 5781 is. Oh, Barkatova. Yeah, I got this one came up the other day when I put that same wrong number in. Well, I guess it's not the wrong number if it's repeating, but bark, it's like barking at someone or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how relevant it's going to be. I do have a strong want to put an echo. Let's put an echo and then let's call it good. 60. Okay, here we are with a good chart to start. Now, what we're going to do is add an event. And it's question one is going to be an event. And it's going to be October 26th when I ask the question. It's going to be in where I am now. All right, pick one. It is 10:42 p.m. 10:42 p.m. 10:42 p.m. Pick one. Let's answer your question. Shall we? All right. Should probably get my glasses. I'll just put these on. This is Okay, so just to give an explanation, I guess I should have put this part in the intro as well, but, you know, I was just going to say I'm going into this blind as I put glasses on. I mean, these are just the things that amuse me when I do things and say things like this. Ironic things and contradictive things, and because everything that's true, the opposite is also true. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, I don't know your question, obviously, but as I read this chart, I'm going to answer your question. So you take what is pertinent to you in answering your question. And if you think something isn't pertinent, maybe it will become pertinent. Maybe the relevance of it will reveal itself in time. Or what I'm saying may be some sort of confirmation to you that this does have relevant information. Even if that's not the direct answer, maybe it's something that's like, oh, that topic was just brought up in my conversation yesterday. And here you are saying it in this reading, even though it doesn't answer my question. I'm paying attention because I think there's something here for me. Treat it like that. That's my suggestion. Okay, here we go. So you'll see the reflection. I'm just looking at my phone where I have the chart. I'm going to throw out a bunch of things that may not be relevant. By the time I get to the end of the chart, there could be a more bigger picture for me. This is how I read charts. I use my intuition and I start at the MC, which is the midhaven, and I go around the chart. By the end, I usually have a bigger kind of message. So I'm going to start throwing out things, but if they're not relevant to you, don't take them. It's just me building the story or the energy in my self, in my vision, or whatever, my sense, so that I can read it, okay? So this may have something to do with how you're seen in the world and what you're here in the world to do, or something that you're doing publicly, or something that you want to do publicly. Also, there could be some wounding on a public sphere, something where you were embarrassed, something where your own ego got bruised. You were made to take a risk, or you chose to take a risk, and it didn't pay off. Maybe there was some pain, humiliation, heartbreak, disappointment. Could be anything like that. It's very possible that people don't even see that, or if they do see it, they don't even, they're not thinking less of you for it. It's like maybe something more like you're the one who notices it. The feeling is an internal felt thing rather than a public humiliation kind of thing. I don't think people are ridiculing you and pointing fingers at you or anything. I think maybe it's just some sort of internal experience of, oh, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to, or shit, I really effed myself over on this. Again, I just heard. Okay. So in that case, it could be that a cycle has just been revealed to you about this thing. Could be a lot of chaos with this situation too, and I'm not even looking at the asteroid chaos yet. Oh yeah, chaos is in the 12th house, so if there is chaos, you probably don't even notice it. You might have been living in it this whole time, it might have been there in the background the whole time, or it might be behind the scenes. You might not realize that chaos is a part of this situation. Oh, I just heard and got this feeling like someone else was causing an issue. So that might resonate for someone. Okay. Maybe there was a surprise in your friend group or an organization that you belong to. Something where you thought that it was really solid, but now something has surprised you, something comes to light. There could be a vengeful person there. in your friendships, for some of you, and this could be someone who is into punishing people and trying to get even and just being a little bit ruthless. But also, there could be something where you've been so dedicated to something that could even be bad for you like that. Um, and this is being disrupted so that you do break away from it. It's like some chaos is happening so that you do break out of an established structure of some sort in either a friendship or a group dynamic or an organization, something you've been committed to. It's being broken open for you in a way. So that could be like something you thought was stable even. And you are probably seeing a lot more sides to something than you were before. And this is very beneficial for you. This bigger picture view that you're gaining, like as you realize, oh, that's not how I thought it was, or that's not how I thought it would be, it's expanding your awareness, right? Because now all of a sudden you have to realize, like, oh, it's something different. I'm not so boxed into, it being the way I thought it was. It does appear that spirit has a hand in this, in causing this chaos, and like just helping you towards where your soul wanted to go in this lifetime, and is doing it in the most gentle, loving way possible. And it might not feel that way. I do want to say that. Like, you might feel, when I say that, you might be like, fuck, it is. Like, because it really hurts to have your ego go through these, like, ego deaths. And even if no one else knows about it, it still hurts. Um, but this is more of one of those ones where you can go cry in your bathtub for a while with some Epsom salt and get through it. It's not like something where your whole reputation is crumbled. I don't think that's how you're having to leave this situation, if that's what it is. Okay. And when I say leave the situation, it could just be leave that belief that you had about how things were in your friendships or in an established group. Maybe it's your political party or something. Maybe you were trying something new and and it's not what you expected or something like that. But you do have a lot of free will in this. Like, either your free will got you there, or your free will can now be enacted to make another decision. All right, that's all I want to say about that for now. Maybe a little bit of a depression or an anger. Oh, there could be layers of anger that come up due to this situation. Um, and you could be turning it on yourself. You could feel powerless in a situation where, like, you thought you had more power or authority, and then realizing that you don't, or something like that. Okay, I don't know why I want to say it this way, but it's important to know that the way that you feel doesn't have anything to do with your worth. Okay? You could be processing emotions that were, like, backlogged and not yet processed, or that come as a result of this breakdown of whatever you're thinking, feeling, believing, or participating in. And that is making you feel a way, or you may be going through depression or this process of grief or something like that. And instead of just saying that, I was asked to start with, it's important that you know that the emotions that you're feeling, or that you're about to feel, that you are going to feel, have nothing to do with your worth. Like, it doesn't change your worth. You're inherently valuable. You have worth. And these are just like, it's like asking you to potentially look at emotion that you're going to pass through and feelings as like something that you're allowing to be there, but also it's just something that, it's just like a wave of energy. And yeah, it's a piece of data that gives you information about experiences you've had, stories you've told, and those experiences and stories are the things that are important to you, to your soul's journey, which is something that is important to this whole situation that you're going through right now. Okay, interesting. Oh yeah, and it's also important to not hold on to those emotions and feelings like they are yours. Um, Meaning they can be with you as long as they need to, right? You can be present with them, but you don't have to own them. Like, you don't have to say, I'm depressed. You could just say, like, I'm going to rest. Like, it's like, the best example I have is like, if I think that I'm coming down with something, I'll never say I'm sick. I cancel, clear, delete, cancel, clear, delete. I would never tell my body that. I would never tell my energy that, because I wouldn't want to own that. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of recognizing that you're with this feeling, you're with this emotion, but you're not like telling it to, like stay with you forever or something. I think I could have explained that better, but I couldn't this moment. So there are times that I can explain that better. This isn't one of them. And maybe you feel that way too when it comes to emotions, just a little bit like foot in your mouth kind of. You wouldn't know how to say it to anyone anyway, so you just rather do this alone. Oh boy. Alright, well, the call just like dropped. Oh, probably went to it said missed call. So I'm gonna let that be. Yeah. It's not an emergency, it's just my son. Sometimes he calls me late night. He'll call back if it's really bothersome, but he gets scared sometimes. Okay. Next we got not being cold either by ignoring him if he might be scared. Sometimes he just calls to ask me if I put something on the list of stuff he wants. It's like, just say a little prayer for him. Hold on. Yep. All right, communication. Actually, that's interesting because, okay, so my prayer for my son is always, I always speak to a specific archangel and thank this particular archangel for protecting, guiding, and watching over my son, letting him know his own love and love of life. And that's my prayer. And then the next thing I went to read is in the third house, which is about communication. And it's angel, the asteroid called Angel, representing an angel. And I was just calling upon an angel to handle that phone call that I didn't take, right? Just in case. And I kind of want to say, like, there's something here about that, praying to your angels, your archangels, God, uh, being thankful. Maybe you've never done that before, or maybe you've never felt like they were listening before or something, because there's some sort of turning point with that. There's some sort of turning point between you and you and an angel, or your experience of angels, or an angel, or your willingness to communicate about it. Like when I was doing the prayer, I considered telling you what I was doing, but then I thought, no, I'm going to keep that to myself. And then I ended up sharing it anyway. So I feel like that's kind of part of it, right? there's something here where maybe you wouldn't normally share about something, but maybe you have an experience that's like, should I share this or not? And there's kind of like this moment of like, you can use your free will, you can break out of this prescribed way of being where no one talks about that, no one believes in that, or everyone thinks that that kind of person's crazy. Or you can just communicate freely and say, I channel angels, I channel Archangel Michael, so here it is. Just, you may just start owning it. And I just heard the proof is in the details. But I also feel like you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. All right, moving on here. Oh, you really get to know what you can devote yourself to here. And it's in the details. It's in the details of what are your values? What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what's important to you? You got to know those things before you make the decisions that you're going to make in life. That's like a general thing, right? Okay, Apollo. Sorry, I know my chair is really loud when I'm moving around. And I've got a bunch of stuff here. I've started packing and okay. Apollo is conjunct the south node here. Ooh, you might be realizing some of the patterns that come from your childhood. A light may be shone on it. Like I do it this way because that's the way I had to learn to adapt in my childhood. Or that's the way they all did it in my household. Or that's the way I was punished if I didn't do it that way. Something like that, because this is all conjunct the IC. Then we've got Hecate conjunct Lilith in the fourth house. Healing of maybe a very moody mother. Healing of patterns that weren't fair for you in your household, or realizing that the situation at hand has to do with these things of unfairness, or a mother, like I'm a mother, right? And my son called and I didn't take his call and I didn't call him back. And I feel like that some people would think I'm a bad mother for that, you know? And I kind of do feel bad in my heart a little bit, like I do want to call him, but I kind of want to finish this reading first. I didn't want to like risk getting my vibe off. Um, and so maybe there was a time where mother was too busy, and it's got, when you're very, very young and mother is too busy, um, a child can only interpret that in a few ways. And the child can't turn against the mother because it still depends on the mother. So oftentimes a child will turn against self and deem self not worthy, or it's not worth it, or I can't, cut a part of self off, or some sort of misunderstanding gets formed about the way that you should operate in the world. And I feel like that might be playing into whatever this is, this question that you have. I feel like your foundation, the chaos, just kind of hit your foundation in this just way. It's like, how did that even happen like that? What are the chances, or something like that? Like I equate it to one time where I caught my boyfriend cheating on me. And it was because I just happened to agree to give the same son a ride to town to go to my sister's house. I wasn't planning on doing it. It was in the opposite direction I had to go. He just happened to say he wanted to go there, and I just went, I'll give you a ride if you want. I didn't have to do it. I just did it. And because I did it, I end up seeing my boyfriend at the bar with the bartender and her tits in his face, and he's eating, and he had just told me that he was going home because he didn't feel well and that he didn't want to go out with me that night. It's like he could have just ended the relationship, but he was keeping me on the side, you know? And I didn't even know it because I lived far away, by the way. I lived far away. And I just happened to be in town this particular day. But it was by chance. It's like, what are the chances of that happening, right? So this is a divine orchestration of some tower moment or shattering of a foundation that it's like, oh, it's like you can't unsee it either. It might change what you're committed to. And it might be highlighted that you may have a lack of commitment to self's values. What's important to you? Have you been committed to what's important to you? Okay. Yeah, there's some sort of deep dive going here. So the answer to your question is in the underworld. And when I say that, I mean the subconscious. And so if it was a very like shallow thing that you're asking about, like, you know, is it going to rain tomorrow? Um, I don't know how you're going to make this answer fit for that. But say you were asking something more like, will so and so and I end up together, or will this new job be a good choice for me? You know, something like that. Um, this would be like answering like, sorry, my granddaughter's staff. She picked this up from outside. She called it her staff. She's 4. It was in my way and it was knocking stuff over here, but it's because I've been packing. But that was like, see, this is my home, and stuff fell over. It's like something crumbling, the foundation. Um, so if it doesn't fit the answer or whatever is being looked at as in your subconscious, then I want to say it's the reasons that you chose to do it or ask this question in the first place. The reasons that you choose to is part of the foundation. And if the reasons that you chose to were based in fear, then that is being shown to you right now. So if the question was something like, you know, how will this new job be? Then the answer is something like, why do you want to know? Look at yourself on why you want to know. Is it because you're scared? Is it because you don't trust yourself to make the decision? Is it because you've made decisions before and you were disappointed by them? It backfired and you don't know if you can trust yourself now? And then is the opportunity to get an answer from an outside source, or is the opportunity being given to you to practice trusting yourself again because it is necessary for you to know how to trust yourself? And you can't actually get it wrong. Worst case scenario, you may feel disappointed because it doesn't turn out the way you expected, but perhaps taking expectation out of it, getting into your heart, and feeling your way into the appropriate decisions, right? Following your intuition. Like, perhaps what's happening is actually just like giving you the opportunity to practice something that is going to be necessary for humans as we go forward. This is part of the evolution that we're going through, becoming sovereign. So no more codependency in our relationships, no more looking outside of ourselves for validation and to be valued and thought important and all that. But actually living as our authentic selves, as the true version of ourselves that does what we're curious enough to be brought to, what we're intuitively brought to make the decision of doing. You know, it's like that. It's like when I made that decision to give my son a ride, and I got that very valuable information that I needed, because I had already I had suspicions, but I needed sort of like, I needed it in my face, because he could just, smooth talk over those suspicions that I had every time, and it was really driving me crazy. But it wasn't like someone forced me to make that decision. It was the most natural thing for me to do. It just felt right. Like it was my heart. Yeah, I'll do that, you know? And as you can see, I'm not someone that'll drop everything every time my kid needs something either, right? Like they're adults now, right? Like my kid's, 26. So don't worry, he's okay. And he was then too. Okay. Um, it feels like a gut punch when I say that, when I say I'm not a mother who will drop everything whenever my kids need anything. Because it's not exactly true, but I mean, if it's not an emergency, right? If it's an emergency, I'm there. Okay. Maybe there's some sort of, let's see, other side of a situation that you're going to be able to consider after you make the shift. Okay. After you realize that, you look for the reasons why you're asking the question, and then when you know your own reasons, then you can kind of see another side of something, because it's like revealing you to yourself allows you to see a bigger picture view, because you're no longer invested in comforting that fear. It opens up your view to go, oh, well, now that it's not just about me getting what I want, I see that there's a lot of things going on here that I hadn't considered. All right, so I would consider any messages that come through songs as really relevant for you. Um, I was just going to say, I wouldn't take, if there's a tarot reader out there that's telling you the answer on what to do. Oh, it's 11:11 right when I say this. I wouldn't ever trust that, Energy is changeable. Don't give your power away and act like it's someone else's responsibility to make decisions for you. If you're going to make your mistakes, make them. You know, pay attention to how you feel when you're making it. When you make that decision, what does it feel like in your body? Your body is your navigation system. You should learn it. It's okay to learn it by trial and error. And maybe this feels like a high stakes thing, and you can't just like trust yourself because you made mistakes before and all that. I get it. It's okay. It's okay to pause until you have a little bit more clarity. It's okay to take a baby step. It's okay to give yourself a safety net before you take a step forward. You know, those things are okay when you're getting to know yourself. So, but you can get reflections and messages through song. It could be easier to communicate through poetry. All right, I'm going to pause you. Okay, that was good. Um, Glad I took the call that time. He actually had a little bit of an issue, and then like talked himself right through it. I assured him that everything was okay, and he said, "Okay, thanks, bye." So all is well. Um, There's something here about opening your heart and doing it through music, through dance, through play. Play is so important. I just looked at how long this reading is going on and I'm like, ooh, play is so important. Something about not being structured is here. Freedom is important. Okay, and your Jupiter was in the friendships. Okay. Expansion. Ooh, I'm excited. All right. I got to move along on the chart here because this is dragging on a long time. All right. So, yes, nurture the play. Something here about this is the time, this is the fated time for something heart based to happen. Money, love, beauty, opening your heart. Something like that. Okay. Day to day. Okay. Again, in your day to day life is where you've seen something and you can't unsee it. So it could be with the way that you're operating, yourself, but it could be within the structure of the group, like the friend group or the organization that you're taking part in. It can be cleaned up. And it's just asking you to maybe not put all those conditions on feeling safe and good in the world, you know? Um, it's like if something is crumbling and you're starting to feel like it's not comfortable for you, or you've just realized something and it's like broken your worldview and it doesn't feel safe anymore and stuff, it's like, well, look at what condition are you putting on feeling safe in the world? What condition are you putting on feeling like you have friends that love you? It's like, ooh, this example is coming, but I think it's a harsh one, but I'm just going to share it anyway. I'm thinking of a couple, a married couple, and it's like one wants to be loved in this certain way, and I'm just going to say as an example, she's like, well, he I love him so much and I know he loves me, but he doesn't do love in my love language. Maybe her love language would be like touch, physical touch, and he's not touchy feely. And she's like complaining, well, I want the love how I want it. Only a closed heart could say that, right? Only an ego wants love how they want it. It's a condition that you've put on love. It's okay to have it, but there's also another way, which you could recognize when I say it this way. You could be happier realizing that if you don't have that condition on feeling loved, that you could feel loved when this person is like doing acts of service, taking care of you, paying the bills, going to work every day, spending time with the kids, taking the garbage out. Whatever you got to do on a day-to-day basis that actually makes you function as a team or a unit that works together. And this could be happening not in a marriage, like my example, but like in a group or in a friend group. It's like maybe you're not the one with the conditions. Maybe there's someone else with the conditions. It's like it has to look like this or it's not love. It has to look like this or it's not valuable. It has to look like this or it's not trustworthy. Or it has to look like this or people won't respect us. And if it's just about how it looks, then that's very shallow place to be working from, right? You haven't even reached the heart if you're just on the surface. So why put those conditions? Look at any conditions that you have, because these conditions are working as structures where you're boxed in and you're like, well, unless this happens, I don't feel loved. Unless this happens, I don't feel safe. Unless this happens, I am not communicating. Unless this happens, I am not going to put this idea out into the world. Unless this happens, I'm not going to try. And it's like, that's the condition that you put on what? On feeling safe, on feeling loved, on communicating, on being a team member. Maybe not you, maybe someone else. Maybe you're dealing with a bunch of people with a lot of conditions. Remember that they're offering you a reflection, something where you can look to yourself and see, am I doing the same thing? Am I allowing myself to know that there's a place where the condition doesn't matter? Yes, you can have the condition. It's not wrong. It's very human. And it shows you, basically, it's like they're built on the ingredients of the experiences you've had. So it shows you what life you've lived and what experiences you've had and what conclusions you've made and what stories you're telling about life based on those things. So it's not wrong. But when your heart opens, it can kind of be both. It can kind of be like, oh yeah, there could be a condition on it, but also like I understand that like sometimes my partner's not able to cuddle because they're just not touchy-feely. They have maybe like an aversion to it. So it's like, doesn't mean that I'm not loved. It means that I have a heart that is respectful of that, their needs too. They matter too, right? Like I love them enough to know like that if they can't cuddle me right now, it's okay. I'm still loved. They're still loved, because that is the truth that the heart can see. Even if the solar plexus has a condition of only feeling love when held. Or only feeling safe enough to express in a group setting if everybody has spoken first. Or if you know a little dirt on this person and that person. Like what conditions do you have in there? Okay. And there's some sort of um, bridging between yourself and others that can happen here. But you have to take the lead. Ooh, I just heard you, but you have to take the lead. So this is going to be something that you do. We did talk about your free will being active in this, right? It's it's out of the it's out of the box. It's out of the ordinary. It's not the same thing that you always do. It's breaking a pattern. It's transformative. But you know what? It's also, in a way, it's transformative, but also in a way, it's just regaining a lost part of self. Like this is a part that you retired in childhood. Like that you always had the capability of being or doing or knowing this, but you kind of didn't allow it for a long time or something because of whatever you had to do to survive your upbringing. And I'm not, just take that how it resonates. I'm not saying terrible bad things happened to you and you had to survive. It could be that, but I'm also it could just be like, in your household, like your needs were met, but like no one really wanted to check in and see how you were doing every day. So the need for emotional closeness or something wasn't met or whatever. Okay. It feels like a lot of this is happening on the outside. So the inside is like, maybe so quiet because it's so used to not being consulted, right? Your subconscious might not be used to you talking to it or asking or reflecting on self. Yeah, you might not have spent not, this isn't for everyone, I think, but some of you may not have spent a lot of time being self-reflective and asking yourself questions about what your motives are, why you're asking this, why you want to know, why you're operating this way. And it's just recognizing that here. Like that may be new territory for you. And oh, I peeked at this ninth house before and a bunch of stuff flooded in. Let's see if it comes back now. Because there is like just this. Oh, I think I peeked here when we were talking about if you have to make a decision, maybe holding off for a minute until you get some clarity. And I want to say that like the clarity is in knowing that you have to do something different. The clarity is in knowing that the structure that you've been doing and built and have been living in isn't going to be sustainable or has not sustained you or isn't going to work going forward. And the clarity of like what that means and where you're going and all that, I don't think you necessarily end up with a bigger picture view, except for the bigger picture view of what I value matters. What I'm good at is something to be aware of because it's in this equation. What I'm improving on, my weaknesses, I need to know those too, so that it's all in the equation here. Like, and devoting yourself to prioritizing your own, like, heart. Yeah. It's like an awareness of that being important. And from there, life starts looking a lot more beautiful. So I feel like the answer to your question is there's something going on here. It may hurt really a lot. It's changing things for the better, but it's also like not cut and dry, mundane, practical kind of stuff that's actually going on. Maybe there is a lot of that going on, but what I'm saying is the most important part of it that you are you're probably becoming aware of throughout this because you're probably being, forced to go so slow or so inward that you notice, but is that you are learning how to navigate yourself as an intuitive being that considers yourself, that consults yourself, and that operates from yourself. Cool. Really, really cool. Okay, that's your reading. We're going to question number 2. Pick 2, 1129. Pick 2, 1129. 2, 1129. 1129. Sure. Okay. Sorry, it's giving me an error. Okay, question number 2. I got the 405 era. It says it's not allowed. So, I don't know what your question is, but we're still going to go through the chart. I just want you to know that you may not be getting an answer that you want or expect, or it's kind of just saying, it's just saying, like, that's not allowed. You can't ask that. And I don't know what your question is, so if that fits, you take it. If not, let's see if we can get any information for you out of this chart. It might have hurt. It might have hurt when I said that. Okay, but the answer to your question could have something to do with pain, public pain, workplace, again, workplace pain. But this time it's a lot more seen. Okay. Meaning a wider variety of people, like, oh, something on the internet. There could be something posted on the internet here. It's yourself. You got like a troll comment, or I don't know. Maybe you are a troll commenter. Okay? Or you're just sad about your image. You're working on your image. You want to be seen a certain way. You may surprise yourself when it comes to changing your old habits. You may not, ooh, ow, ow. You may not be very aware of your own motivations. Like there's something missing. There's something missing in you. Okay, so here's what I want to say. When I say you may not be very aware of your own motivations, you're going ahead with something like you believe you have it all figured out because you're pretty quick. You usually know stuff. And the thing about it is, because you've been used to knowing so much stuff, you kind of skim over a lot of stuff. Like, and that's worked for you. That is how the human brain works, right? You make an association, relates to this, so we'll just categorize it there. But in your case, there's something here, probably a lot of things, but in this particular case of your question, apparently, you have missed something. Something's missing from what conclusions you're making, or your motivations. Have you looked at yourself? Interesting, because it's a similar message to pile 1, but I feel like this is different. You are different energy than pile 1. And, but again, Spirit wants you to look inward, because it's like saying it in a different way, but it comes right down to that. for you, but for different reasons in a way. I think they want you to check on the harm that you're doing. You may not realize the karma you're going to live perpetually if you don't break out of the cycle. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I felt like pile one, spirit was kind of stepping in and breaking things apart. That might be the case here too, but like, for you, there's something here about perhaps you haven't used your free will to do this. This is all being done because you had to be shown something. I heard you had to be stopped, but I felt like that was so weird to say, but okay, I'll just say it how it comes. Yeah, it's just kind of saying like, hey, that everything you've been putting out in the world and seeing, that's in you. And so you're going to keep experiencing that. That's what karma is. It's a energy that's just like still looping. It's perpetuating. And so everything you've been living out, you're probably going to keep living, but in the reverse or something like that. Like if you've been thinking you're getting away with something, or if you've been doing something without knowing your real motivation for doing it, you might want to look into what that motivation is, it's saying, because like then you'll really know what it is you've been dealing with. Okay. Yeah, because we've got something here. Oh, echo. We've got something here where you may have been just going through the motions. You may be just doing what people expected of you. You may be following trends. You may be just like mimicking others or doing something over and over again. Saturn's at play here in the details. And what Saturn is pointing at is you will now reap the results of what you have sown. You will now reap the results of what you have sown. Okay? And it's in the details. There's an end of a cycle. Praying is probably helpful, useful. Praying in that if you could look at the things that you could be grateful for and thank God and, thank the universe, whatever you believe, I think that's going to help you because you may have been in a time of feeling a little bit stuck, of feeling like you couldn't see a bigger picture, or if you've even wanted to. I mean, if you did want to, then it might have been difficult. If you might not have even cared to think about things in those terms. Hmm. Oh, wow. This message is fated for you. You were always going to get this message from me. You were always going to be attracted to this reading. You were always going to be told this by me. Interesting. And this is for entertainment purposes only. And it's very beneficial for you to get this message. I'm not trying to yank my own chain here, but it's just reading the chart. It just shows. Yeah. This is an intercepted sign. What does that mean? Let's see. So there's something duplicated. It's really, really important for you right now to learn how to balance self and other. Self and other. You are an individual, a sovereign being, meant to be guided by your own internal compass of curiosity, inner urge, your own soul's calling. Other people are the same. They're not following your agenda. You don't know best for them. You know best for you. They know best for them. Must be respected and honored. You can't follow them and get to where you need to go. You can't expect them to follow you and get to where they need to go. If you happen to be able to walk along adjacent paths, then you would call yourself fortunate to have a friend that you can grow and learn with. That will never ever happen by coercion, manipulation, tactics. That will never happen through fabrication, through lies, through illusion, through magic. If you think about wanting to control others or wanting to get a certain result, or trying to guide others in a way that benefits you, and you think about how it would be flipped, that means you could have someone come into your life that does that to you. It means your boss could do that. It means someone could be doing that to someone you care about, so you get to watch it from the outside. You will learn that this puts you in a position to experience that energy on repeat until you learn what it is to have that view of life and to have those conditions on living life. I will live this life, but I only want to live it if things turn out exactly how I want them. I said I want this, I need this before I'm doing anything. Well, you have a soul in your body, right? And you have an agenda of your soul. And so you've got your ego, which is trying to protect you and put you into a position where it thinks you'll be safest, right? And this is kind of saying, well, your ego might have you doing things that, had you understood the biggest picture view, you would understand that doesn't behoove you. Because if you behave in such a way that you want to manipulate and coerce others, and you think that it will never affect you because you've been getting results up till now, when you're about to learn different. This is not to scare you. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't like scaring people. I think this is trying to answer your question, right? So maybe you needed to understand. Maybe you were asking about someone else. Will they get their karma? Whatever. And I'm here explaining how things will work for them or something. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not being given all that. Okay. All right. It does clearly show me, and I think that's probably for me, right? It shows me that I was always going to be given this message, right? And I said that, right? You were always going to get this message from me. I think I needed to see that because I wouldn't like to say this stuff. I'm not naturally someone who wants to that doesn't make me happy. I want to give gentle, loving messages these days. That's, my favorite thing. But some people won't hear it that way. And I will be direct, and so maybe that's why I'm given this message to say. There are probably other reasons too that you might know. Let's see what else. Things are going to come together, but it's not going to look like you thought it was. It's going to be completely different. If there's anything that's, not on the up and up, it's going to crumble first. Where have you been giving away your power? Where did you say it needs to be like this in order for me to feel safe? It needs to be like this in order for me to be happy. Take your power back from those places and understand that your job is to choose to feel happy in the circumstances you are living, because those are the circumstances you came to live. So you get to decide to be happy in that or not. You could decide to be miserable in that or not. You can fight against that or not. The resistance causes pain, and it's understandable to operate in this other way only because you are not aware that the detriment you cause is to yourself. And you don't know that only because when you get traumatized, when you are scared, when you are kind of operating in this way that makes you feel like you have to compete and there's not enough, and that you're not enough, and that you have to manipulate and try to do power struggles for relating and be codependent and need others to do this and that for you, and to like put up facades and to try to use fabrication in order to deter people from other directions they might look in. And if you have to do all that, right, that means you're living that's all done from a fearful place, right? And it's understandable that when you are in fear, or you have those fearful patterns, which may have just been passed along to you through the household that you grew up in, that your heart closes, right? It's not necessarily really closed, but what it means is like you don't feel the love that you would feel if your heart was open. And all that means is you've put all the conditions on feeling loved, and they're all present in your life. And the reason they're present in your life is because they're trying to show you these are the conditions that you put on being happy. See them all? How are you going to be happy when you have all these conditions on being happy? Well, they're not being met, are they? Some of them were probably met for a while. It wasn't sustainable because of your soul's calling. Your soul says, hey, I want to learn about this. That's why I'm in this circumstance, so I can see what it's like, so I can learn from it. And while you are being required to balance the knowing and understanding of self and the other, the while you are learning that, I think this fun's gonna. I don't want to say that every bit of fun will be sucked out of your life or anything. I just mean like fun will not be the top. Like fun will not be the focus. You won't really be able to. Excuse me. What do I want to say here? You won't really be able to see the bigger picture view, and you won't really be able to. I want to say even communicate as freely as you want to. until you break this karmic cycle or deal with this karma or understand this karmic loop. But you have everything it takes right now. Oh, that's why. It's kind of like your highest self is making you focus on this right now. That's why everything else is kind of fading to the background, and you have to focus on this. You and the other, you and the other, you and the other. Build the bridge between you and the other. Where are the conditions you've put on relating to the other? Where are the conditions that you've put on having relationships in general, having good relationships, having fair relationships, having healthy relationships, feeling loved in relationships, respecting each other in relationships, honoring each other in relationships, not trying to control in relationships, not taking everything so personal, like everything, not trying to manipulate and coerce and all those darker things either. It's really making you look at this. Okay. Now, yeah. So the reason you're experiencing the karma isn't because it's like payback time or anything. It's just because those are the loops of energy you have reverberating in your field. So you can clear those up anytime when you get to the root cause of them, when you do some self-reflection. Because the way that you distinguish and learn about you versus the other is to focus on you, to get to know yourself, know your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, what's important to you, and what's in the way of expressing authentically, what's in the way of feeling and knowing that you yourself as a sovereign being, you know, only in control of yourself, letting others be free. You actually, in your home life, you may have something that you're committed to there in your home life that is an ally to you. Something in your home life is an ally to you. It could be just the fact that you have a home, you know? Like, it could be the fact that you are able to hermit right now, which means, excuse me, kind of putting yourself in an isolated position to kind of let yourself think for at least 15 minutes a day, um, meditate, things like that. And hermit may mean other things to you as well. When I say hermit, I'm referring to like the tarot card, the hermit. So you can look up what that means if you want to get deeper into it. But you're being set up with that ability. You have some sort of ally there for you, and it could be that meditation. It could be you're supported in that you have a resource for that in your home. You might have someone to talk to. You might have like a good counselor or a mother, a friend, a husband, a wife, someone to talk to. Might be shocked by what they have to say if you ask them directly and trust them to answer honestly. When you ask them for reflections about you. They might also be able to give you insights into things that they know you overlook. If these scenarios, don't fit exactly, don't make them fit. But this is the type of energy that's in this chart right here, answering this question. So let me just get the last couple houses here and then I'll kind of wrap it up. I was just going to wrap it up, but then I was like, I got two more houses. I don't want to have to wrap it up twice. Um, Yeah. Spirituality could be a very good outlet for you, a very good, big comfort if you wanted to study these topics. But I kind of want to say that it takes more than just studying these topics. The knowledge isn't what, the knowledge is comforting because the knowledge can give you hope. But the implementation of the actual concepts into your life, living, what you've learned is what's really going to make the difference for you. And it is going to make a big difference for you in your life and keeping you on track to where you're actually going. Yeah. All right. So to recap, with some sort of pain, it may be seen publicly, it could have been on the internet, you know, something, oh, it could be this video poking you in the spot where it kind of doesn't feel good. But it could be something else, that came towards you rather than you seeking it out. But it could go either way, that way. And there's just some sort of inner motive that's been overlooked. Okay, and so it's like if there's pain, it's like what's causing that pain. It could give you clues as to what it is on the root cause. What are you overlooking? It's something with your will and how you're operating, maybe. But it's asking you to transform and to really take into consideration the ways that you've been relating to others and how you categorize them or how you operate and why you operate that way. And it's like asking you to heal these things, and it's telling you that you can be shown another side of this now. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everything you've done is going to come back to you. It could be that you watch this situation and someone that's close to you that you love, and then you can kind of see it from both sides all of a sudden, or whatever. It could be in many different ways that you show yourself, or the universe shows you the other side of things. But it's all to help you gain a bigger picture, which helps you understand. And understanding is the point. It's the answer is that, this is the answer. The answer is that there's transformation needed. The answer is that um, it's up to you to build the bridge, and you have everything you need to do so. And if you do, and that means the ability to seek out knowledge where you need to, but also to implement it. Um, and so it's saying, don't waste this pain. Uh, I just heard, don't get mad if it didn't go your way. It is all for your highest good. It is lending towards where you want to go. It's going to be so beneficial to just your understanding of life and your ability to love. Yeah, it's going to eliminate a lot of those conditions that you may have had up until now. Okay. All right. Pick two. That's your reading. We're going to go to pick three. Pick three. 12 a.m. Okay, pick three. I'm just hearing a bunch of things and I'm just like waiting to hear something that makes me want to start speaking. So hold on. Really beneficial change. Uh, what's that thing I used to say about Uranus? I used to say sudden and electrifying change. Yeah. Something changing, maybe in your career, in your reputation, how you're seen. Oh, hold on. Something that may make you focus on your relationships. And I mean, I heard like you got a windfall or something like that, you know? And and then I heard just like there's people coming out of the woodwork. It's something that there's this guy who interviews people who have won the lottery, and I've watched his channel, Timothy Schultz. And that's the phrase that he uses sometimes when he asks people, "Did you have people coming out of the woodworks?" And I just heard that when I was looking at this 11th house here with chaos and spirit, they're conjunct in the 11th house of this chart. Just made me think, oh, people coming out of the woodworks. Um, but let's see what else. Oh shit, yeah, like something huge is changing for you, and people will see it. But mostly just the people you know, and it could just be like a glow up. It could be you changed your diet. It could be you start walking, going to the gym. Yeah, you changed something that made you very magnetic. And it looks like you feel really comfortable in expressing yourself and who you are. And you're completely content with everything you've done in this life up till now. You don't have regrets. You recognize that as you become aware of something, that that then is the time to deal with it. And that you don't have to seek out problems or worry about things that aren't happening, or you know, you don't like have anxiety or something like that, you know. You're very content and present with life, I believe. There may be like interviews, there may be an interview. You'll unlike me right now, you'll have just the right words to say. Your words will be like magic. You'll have wonderful communication with those in your family, with if you did have like interviews or like media or something like that, contact. Your life's changing. You think about life a whole new way. And it might hurt to leave some things, some people, something like that behind. But I think it's worth it for you. Maybe a new home, something like this. Are you making a decision about a new home? Because it looks positive for that, for sure. And it looks like you may not even have expected that that could be, but it could be. Don't forget yourself as the magic ingredient. There may be some surprising communication. You may discover a new hobby, something that you feel passionate about, or you may have already done this. If you're asking about a career, it's like kind of saying like, oh, you're probably going to get an epiphany, an idea, and then it's going to spark something where you're going to feel very passionate about going towards that. You won't be able to forget it after you get this idea, and it just be like, yeah, that, and then devoting your time to it. And like something, it's something you love to do. And it's something that seems like very wholesome and healing and intelligent. Seeing in the dark, I want to say, seeing into places that others don't bother to look. Seeing others in the highest light and also maybe allowing them to see you in the highest light. I just heard like having no conditions on what others need to be in order for you to, respect them, love them, treat them with kindness, all that. This is really nice. I feel like this one's so quick because it's not hard for me to say this compared to the other readings, which took me a bit longer. It was difficult. And also now, um, you know, the horary chart works on timing. So, you know, what changes is the houses as I ask the questions in order. So it changes the message, but sometimes it doesn't change everything about the message, right? There's a collective theme in the messaging, and that is that something is changing. um, and because I've read it now 3 times over, this time I think it's going a lot faster too because I kind of feel in this one like those things are not as relevant because I've already read them, so now I'm like kind of picking other things. The lighter things are coming to the surface here, like they floated to the top. So it's something like that where it was easy, it floated. Oh, you were in the flow state all the way to where you're going. Be in the flow state when you make the decisions. Follow your design, like for instance, I'm a projector in human design, and I'm also have a emotional authority. So I'm meant to wait for an invitation, wait to be recognized, and when it's the right invitation for me, I'll know. But I also wait 3 days for making major decisions because I'm going to go through all the ways I can feel about a thing before I can um, rightfully make a decision about it, right? So I'm going to honor that process for myself. And this is saying honor your personal process for doing things and making decisions. But being in your flow state is really where your answer is at. There probably are changes in your worldview. There probably is a real healing feeling about you at this time. Either you've been healing yourself, you've done tons of shadow work, or like you are a healer, so to speak, or you're going to see a healer, something like that, potentially. I think people are going to be shocked by you, but it's not a bad thing. It could actually help a lot of people to be shocked by you. And I think you may be surprised at what benefits you get from all the hard work you've done. Like even the things that start out chaotic come come up roses for you right now. And that's, I think, due to your karma. Being with your emotions through this is very beneficial. So it's like, feel what you gotta feel, you know? It's saying don't be afraid to feel what you gotta feel. You may be ill prepared to feel such immense, intense goodness, fulfillment, you know? Could be overwhelming the response you get from just these shifts that you've made and this glow up that you've had and this magnetism that you're experiencing. The past is in the past. Past is in the past. And you are fully committed to this new space that you're in, this new timeline, perhaps, this new location, perhaps. Like, even somebody against you ends up working for you because if somebody is like against you, then it alerts the people around them that there's something off with that person, right? And it never like ends up affecting you because all it does is allow someone who's against you to reveal themselves. Something like that. Yeah, I don't think you're competing or anything, but there may be people who try to compete with you. I don't think you're bothered. I feel like you already learned that lesson. That competition isn't where it's at for you or something. Maybe you, like I was just gonna say that corny meme, like maybe you compete with an older version of yourself. Like, but I just feel like I feel like you're just above it. Like I feel like you just wouldn't even frame it that way. Oh yes, because integration has been the key, right? To where to for you to get to where you're going, it hasn't been about competition, even with the old version of yourself. It's been about integrating all versions of yourself. Yes, into wholeness. Yes, yes, yes. So the past is the past, but it's also within you. Also, all the lessons and the life and the experience and the wisdom lives within you. You may choose to express something, some of these things. I don't know. It might be harder for you to express about like how good it is. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's because of the jealousy and envy that you know it may evoke in others, and you just rather not deal with it. But I don't see why you'd even care about dealing with it because I think you're in a really good place where it wouldn't affect you. I just heard, but you don't want them to suffer their own consequences. Yeah, I get that. That's that's so kind, right? It's like I don't want to make you act a fool because I know you're going to suffer your foolishness, kind of thing. You know, it's like that. Wow. But yeah, actually, that would be enabling. I think, right? You got to let people have their reactions, and because how else are they going to learn? Sometimes, you know, even if they're causing themselves a lesson. All right. I think we're going to call that a reading. I hope that answers your question, pick 3. Let's see. As the recap, something good changing, maybe a glow up, maybe a windfall, maybe a promotion, maybe a new job, new home, new look, new new friends, just a all overall goodness and well-being, and like things going well and lessons been learned, and just being ready and set up with this solid foundation, ready to receive some sort of inspiring idea that sets you off in a new direction that feels so right and perfect for you and that you're very passionate about, all while respecting yourself and other people. I mean, whew, well done. Well done. Thank you for being here on Earth. Okay, that is your reading, pick 3. So if you feel like it, let me know how this went in the comments, because this whole reading style was an experiment. If you didn't watch the intro, I was reading from the Horary chart, and it was my first time doing a pick a reflection this way, and I'd like to know how it worked for others. So let me know.